Hello, this is Beth Jernberg. I would like to give you some clarification on the presentation and maybe show you how the rubric gets translated into an actual presentation. I have an example here, one that is not perfect, but it does fulfill the requirements from the rubric. And I would start out by just saying that we really want three elements, and uh, you can arrange those any way that you want. Uh, Three elements are going to be repeated 2 times. The three elements are, number one, you would choose a, a strength that was identified on this Strengths Finder exercise, and then you would talk about an event or an individual from your life that that you believe has influenced you toward this strength. And then the third thing you would talk about would be that you would relate this specifically to the ideas of a leadership theorist that we've studied in the class. And so you can put these in any order. For the presentation, we're just concentrating on 2 strengths. And so let's get started here. I'll show you the first outcome concern that the first strength that this person talked about was outcome concern. It's also related to empathy, and it's sincere concern for employees when sharing decisions that affect them, showing remorse for unfavorable circumstances resulting from a decision, and seeking input from others regarding their reactions to decisions that affect them. On this slide also you'll notice that that John Maxwell is cited as the related theorist. And so she explains an event that took place just recently at the end of the current school year, and you can read through this story on your own. The second example of her empathy strength came when a teacher on staff was moved to a new position. And this individual is sharing things that are personal or that are confidential, but at the same time, she is explaining that the ways in which she has tried to help this individual and support her, and also a way to put the decision that was made into a more positive light, so that it's an opportunity to show her effectiveness. And so these are just 2 examples that point out the use of the outcome concern and the skill of listening with an empathetic ear. The next, the second highest strength was explaining to employees why decisions are made, and explaining to employees how decisions were made. So information sharing is the strength that was identified. Then she goes on to talk about her connecting her actions to leadership theorists that we have studied in the class. And finally, she talks about leadership models from her life. So maybe instead of including those in examples that she gave for each of the 2 strengths, she has brought these together into a slide at the end. When I look at this presentation, I would say that, we might need one more example or specific event from her life. She has not really addressed, I'll go back here, she's not really addressed the information sharing and in terms of a specific event or a person. And that would probably be the only criticism, if I had one, about this presentation. Now I want to go back to look at the rubric itself, and so you can see that that the presentation does include appropriate visual illustrations. There was an event or a person from the Leadership Development Timeline, both in terms of the stories that she told and also the people that she cited. And then the second event is also discussed, and she did a good job of tying the leadership theorist into each of the leadership strengths that she chose to present. Wanted to at this time talk just for a minute about the written reflection, the difference between the written reflection and the, as you're responding to the questions in the assignment, and the presentation, is that the we're going to develop a specific point of view, and we're going to focus on strengths and areas for growth. And so that's the one thing that's a little bit different. You'll talk in your written reflection about at least one of the areas for growth that were identified. And so we're not going to have you talk about your weaknesses during your presentation, but we do want you to talk about the one of your areas for growth. And so follow the questions on the assignment sheet for the written reflection, and also for your presentation. And we're looking forward to listening to your presentations and reading your written reflections. Thanks very much.